Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay, and this is Life with Lindsay. Today, we will be doing a WIP Chat, working on the Seahorse here. But before we get into it, a few boring housekeeping tips. I do not have a fan running today because it is actually cold. We're in the midst of a snowstorm. See, I actually have a sweatshirt on. But if you guys do hear howling noises, that's just the wind. It's crazy windy out right now. Anyway, I'm recording this while my toddler is sleeping, so hopefully you don't hear any tiny human noises. And currently we are San's husband in the room. So it's just you, me, a lot of crazy thoughts, and some crazy winter weather outside. So we are going to be working on a WIP Chat. If you guys hear a beeping sound, I do use a timer. Well, that's good. There's some shards of plastic in there. So, totally just lost my train of thought. I was just telling you what we're doing. We're working on a WIP Chat. If you don't know what that is, WIP is WIP, which is a work in progress. And basically, I'm going to be working on my project, and you can work on whatever it is that you want to be working on. You can work alongside with me, so it's like you're hanging out with a friend, or you can have me on in the background. I actually had a WIP Chat on yesterday while I was doing some laundry. There's really no right or wrong way to WIP Chat, so you do you, alright? Now that we've gotten the boring formalities out of the way, I am using, I don't even know what size placer this is, a 7 placer, and I feel like all I'm doing is just constantly readjusting. I'm not a huge fan of, are you kidding me, large multi-placers, but there's so much color blocking, I thought, why not bust this one out? This is a pen I haven't used in a while. I don't even remember where it's from, if I'm being completely honest with you. Alright, let's pick up that little bit of a mess here. The way I've been working on this canvas has been a little all over the place. So if you guys see me adjusting my canvas, it's simply because I'm kind of working on it like typewriter style. I work over here as much as I can, and I keep going over. And then once I get to this end here, I shift the canvas down, and then I go up and over again. Well, it's not been very even, so I'm trying not to move the canvas around too much while I'm filming. Ugh. This WIP Chat is off to a great start, you guys. So before I get really into what's been going on in my world and in my day, which let me know down below, how was your day? One thing I do want to touch base on is it doesn't take any time, effort, or money to express kindness. Now, this goes without saying. We were all taught, if you have nothing nice to say, then you shouldn't say anything at all. And in the day of internet trolls and people, I don't even know how else to explain it. Just people in general seem to care less and less about the real life person that they are engaging with, commenting on, shopping from, things like that. We are all people, and we all deserve to be treated with respect. So this is just a very in general statement. You never know what somebody else is going through. Okay, so one thing I do want to touch base on, it is the holiday season. And whether you want to believe in the coronavirus being real, which this is not up for debate, this is not a conversation about that. We are in the middle of a global pandemic during the holiday season. If you purchase something from a small shop, it is out of their control once it leaves their hands. So if they're shipping you something and they shipped it within the USPS guidelines, then you just have to wait. I've been seeing so much hatred online, on small shop pages, just in the internet realm. Can you guys hear that? It sounds like it's probably sleeting right now. It is out of their control once something leaves their shop or their hands or their house or whatever it is. And we are all people. So if you run a small business, you probably understand what I'm saying 110%. People are freaking out about things that are not in someone else's control. You cannot get mad at that small shop owner because the item that they shipped out on December 7th isn't in your hands yet. My thing is, the holiday season and milestone events are not about gifts. Yes, it is great to reward somebody or to make somebody feel loved by offering them something. But if you're sending a Christmas gift to your niece, or you're sending a Hanukkah gift to your best friend, or you're sending a birthday gift to your sister, is it any less valuable to them if it's there 3 days after that date? Would you be that upset if it showed up 3 days early? No. And I'm not talking, because I know someone's going to be like, well, my husband gets their medication sent to them online. I'm talking about small shops. I'm not talking about pharmacies or big corporations. I'm just talking about small shop stuff. So as much as it sucks, we have to practice patience and kindness, because let me tell you, as I watch when my husband boxes up all of his pops and sends them out, it is a labor of love, and there's nothing more that these shop owners would want than for you to get your product when you should be getting it. Okay? Every single package I have out for delivery right now, or in transit right now, says in transit, arriving late. Every single one of them. We are talking about from big stores. We are talking about from small shops. I'm talking about everything. Amazon Prime is not 2 days right now. It's just a mess out there. So instead of being quick to say, you're going to ruin my child's Christmas, or you're going to ruin this, they're not. But think about it from the other end, the other side of that coin. My husband, for example, is a small business owner. There's plenty of small business owners that I know that I'm friends with, or people that are watching this video right now. For them, it's more than just, oh, I don't want to disappoint my customer. It's taking them, the small business owners and the creators, an extended period of time to get what it is that they need to have their small business. If we just practiced a little bit more kindness and compassion, I think that the holiday season in general could be better dealt with. I put Eileen's Gray Tack, or whatever it's called, in here. And I go through stages where I'm like, oh, this stuff is okay. And other times I'm like, why did I put this in? I feel like I have to be so much more conscientious about where I'm placing. But I've seen some things, whether it be the small shop world or our crafting community or on YouTube, of people saying things that are incredibly rude without any consideration of the person those comments are being directed towards. If you don't like something that somebody is putting out there, whether it's a vibe, a video, photos, a product, then just keep scrolling. It costs you 0 cents to be kind. It costs you 0 cents to be kind. If you don't like something, you don't need to express it. Okay? I have made it very clear that if people don't like what it is that I have to say, that they are free to leave whenever they want. And this is not an airport, so you do not need to announce your departure. Okay? So, with that being said, we're going to move on. And I just really wanted to get into that because I've been seeing it in every aspect of my life, whether it's my small shop communities or my crafting communities or my YouTube communities. And yes, some of them overlap with each other, but some of them do not. So, anyway, today, when I'm recording this, which is not the day this will go up, is Wednesday. And my kiddo, for those who don't know, my kiddo is in the intermediate unit program, which is, okay, so I know I can only speak for the states. I don't know what these programs are called or how they function outside of the US. And for that, I do apologize. But I'm just going to share my experiences and how this affects my life. And hopefully this is something that either interests you or is relevant to you, or that you're just listening to because you respect what I have to say. Or you just want someone to, like, fill the background noise. Whatever, okay? Here we go. So, the Birth to 3 program, the state that I live in, is called Early Intervention. It does go by different names. It is Birth to 3, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a program for kids birth to 3. This program exists with government funding through your county, whatever county that you live in, for kids who qualify who need extended services. This could be a lot of things. This could be a child who needs physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, in some instances feeding therapy, and a couple other services that they offer. These are for children who are not necessarily drastically behind. It can be, but it's a service that is meant to help these kids be up to date with their peers by the time they start school. Okay. The point of this is to intervene early, hence the name Early Intervention. So after Early Intervention, and these are not seamless programs, you don't just automatically go from one to the next, and not everybody has to be in one to be in the other. But then you go into what my state calls the intermediate unit, which is the pre-K program. See, this is why I cannot handle this. Like, do you see how much I'm just pushing down and it just doesn't want to release it? I know this works great for some people. And, if you guys have any tips on how to really utilize, like, the tacks, blue tack, gray tack, pretty sure that museum putty is the same kind of thing, let me know. I'm struggling in general with all of my waxes right now. Even my standard go-to is taking much longer to utilize. Anyway, so my child is in the pre-K program, the preschool program that is offered through the school. So the biggest difference between birth to 3 and then the next step, which is the IU, well, it's the IU here, is that the birth to 3 program is focused more on parent support, and the 3 to 5 program is more of an education setting. Now, if you haven't put 2 and 2 together yet, because of the way the world is going, we are doing virtual preschool therapy sessions. I've expressed countless times how much I dislike the way things are going. So, unfortunately for us, our kiddo turned 3 right around Thanksgiving. So, literally the day after her birthday, they went on Thanksgiving break. So, we were able to get one session in before they went on break for an entire week. And then now we're back. And at the end of this week, they will be going on break again till the new year because of Christmas or winter break or whatever schools officially call it these days. So here we are with a kid who's receiving services, who's just getting a bunch of disjointed services. And I know this would be the same for any kid whose birthday is in the same time frame or who's starting the program at this time. Like I said, it's not an automatic thing. You can have a kid who's 4. As long as they qualify for these services, that's what they'll get. So it's a real slap in the face when you hear them referring to your kids in certain terms when that's not how you look at your kid. That's another story for another day. But I kind of find it funny that they consider my child, at least in the school district's eyes, they consider my child to be developmentally delayed because she does not know how to utilize scissors, which hands up or in the comments, let me know. If you have a kid who's around the same age as mine, or you have had children who have now grown up, could they fully function with scissors at 3? Because this seems like something I didn't realize my kid was supposed to know how to do. Anyway, not the point. So it's because she can't utilize scissors and she can't fully dress herself. And I mean, there's a couple other things going on here too. But anyway, so we have what's called an IEP. And if any of this stuff is super boring, I do apologize. I'm going to try to move on from it quickly. But for anyone who's not in this world, who doesn't understand these terms, I just want to explain a little bit about what's going on so that you have a little bit of context and background. If you've been here long enough, you've surely heard me go on or, frankly, bitch about the system and the treatment of my child. Anyway, so we're trying to get things situated because my child has an IEP, which is an individualized education plan. Now, if you have a child who receives any kind of accommodations in school through the K-12 program, they probably do have an IEP. For us, ours has to do with OT services and speech therapy services. So today we had speech therapy, and for some reason she was just grumpy pants Magoo today, and fussy toddler. Just, I was worried that it was going to go nowhere quick. She actually did pretty good. She had one moment where she was like totally over what the teacher was telling her. And again, this is not the same as the Birth to 3 program where, you know, like they're sitting on the floor and they're playing and they're having fun. This is like, here's a lesson and I'm teaching it to you. Yes, they're still doing it in ways that are fun for children of that age. But unfortunately, a lot of these things are done through, you know, videos and, like our one teacher uses a platform where we can, almost dropped that. We can log in and print out some of the activities and do them at home. Well, shoot, I don't have a printer. Like, and I know people are going to, you don't have a printer? Yes, we have a printer. It stopped working a long time ago. My husband was going to go and try to exchange it because it was a pretty new printer. And this is all at the beginning of the pandemic. And then it wasn't able to be taken care of because of that. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I've got all these like activities that I'm trying to utilize and all these things that are, you know, much different than the way things ran. So one thing that was expressed to us that hadn't been expressed to us previously is that if your child has an IEP, they more than likely will qualify for medical assistance. Now, if you didn't know, medical assistance is a program that helps assist with medical costs. It doesn't necessarily mean for doctor's appointments or medication. However, it does do that as well. It also offers, for example, if your child is over the age of 3, they are 3 or older, and they are not yet toilet trained, they can qualify for free diapers. If you have a child who has sensory issues or poor diet and they want to put your kid on high calorie Ensure, that is covered. They offer rides to your appointments. They offer services if your car breaks down. There's a lot of things that they offer. So for us, if you've never had a sick child, and I don't mean like a kid who has a cold, like I mean a child who requires some sort of medical service. I'm gonna like take this wax out. I really cannot handle it. So for anyone who wants to know, the really cheap plastic tweezers that come in those like special drill kits, they're terrible for drills, okay? I find them to be very helpful for cleaning out wax in my tips, especially if you have an everlasting tip, because those, if you put metal ones in, you can scratch them. And I know people have put like toothpicks in there and they've broken off, and that's not been good. So, I don't know what it is, but I'm just having trouble with wax all of a sudden. Like every wax, it seems like. I just have a boatload. Well, I have a tray load of wax over here, and I'm just, what shall I pick? So, anyway, we were told this information after my daughter had already started services. So, not even like when we qualified for services. So, we were told we would be connected with a social worker. And the social worker goes through the process to help you apply for medical assistance. Now, like I was saying, if you've never had a child who requires specialists, fun little story here, if you will. When my daughter was diagnosed with her airway disorder when she was like 3 or 4 months old. And then we had a follow-up appointment. I don't even remember how old she was. A couple months later. maybe 6 months, 8 months, something like that. And we walked in, we had insurance, and they said, oh, wow, her stridor, which is the squeaking breathing sound that she had, which is closely linked to it's directly linked to her airway disorder. They said, oh, her stridor sounds much better. You guys can go. You don't need to come back. They didn't touch her. They didn't scope her. They didn't examine her. They literally walked in, said, wow, she sounds much better. Send us on our way. We got a $350 bill after insurance. So when I tell you that medical assistance is going to be a huge help, it's more than just, oh, hey, it's going to cover things like doctor's bills. It's going to help us with coverage for specialists so that we can get that second opinion that we need, so that we can continue to have the care that my child needs. But also, she requires mental health services, psychiatric care for a toddler. And for us, that's expensive. And it doesn't matter how much money you have saved away. If they want your child to have weekly outpatient therapy, and let's say, lowball it, let's say it's $100 a week, that's $400 a month. $400 a month for a 3-year-old to receive therapy services. You might be thinking, well, that's absolutely crazy. Why would you spend that much money? When you don't have a lot of options, you take what you can get. And there's not a lot of doctors out there, psychiatrists, psychologists that do therapy for children her age, and even less that do them for kids her age that also take insurance, or that don't have a ridiculous copay. So for us, behavioral services are not offered in the IU, and they highly recommend, as well as another team recommending our child receiving therapy services. So for us, we're trying to get the process of getting medical assistance for our daughter. Now, one thing that you need to do is you need to provide certain proof of documentation, things like that. For example, my daughter, I have no idea what happened to Social Security card. Well, she needs her Social Security card for this. She also needs a birth certificate. Long story short, her birth certificate disappeared a long time ago. I've applied for a replacement and it didn't come. But I can't get, where did that come from? I know it's this color, but I can't get a new Social Security card without getting a birth certificate. Do we see where this is going? I can't properly apply for medical assistance without the proper documentation for my child. Peep the neon green scrunchie. I'm going to pull my hair back. I just took the sweatshirt off. So now we are fighting a clock, trying to get things in a timely manner, because these processes take a while. And they said our county is resolving and making their decisions in about 30 days, but it typically takes up to 45 days. Okay, we're going into a holiday. Nothing's going to be, big decisions are not going to be made between Christmas and New Year's, but we have to get the ball rolling on getting the documentation in. So we're starting to get this stuff done. We've been waiting for a week and a half for a social worker to get back to us. She finally got back to us today. It's really daunting when you have a child and they don't fit the norm. Okay, I'm putting that with air quotes for anyone who is listening. If you are lurking and working, props up to you. When you have a child who doesn't fit that norm, it's a lonely island. Okay, doesn't matter what difference your child has, whether it's drastic or it's minor, whether it's something that affects their life or it doesn't. They don't give you a manual on how to raise children. They certainly don't give you a manual on how to raise children that are out of the norm, okay? We've known from day one something was different about her, and we were told we were first-time parents. We didn't know any better. You know, it's no big deal. Turns out we were right. We spent the first 2 years of her life fighting to help her breathe and eat. And I'm not going to get super into that again because I've touched base on that a million times, and I will, without a shadow of a doubt, touch base on it a million more times, but the focus of this video is not really on that. So, that didn't sound like it clicked. So, we're going through this process, and now I'm, you know, super overwhelmed. We're trying to get new insurance. My husband and I are going through the marketplace, and we're trying to find out what options are available to us. Now, here's a novel idea. People who work at in the K-12 administration, why are we not teaching children about healthcare and insurance and things like this when they are high school students? I don't know about you guys, but I do not understand insurance. It's very overwhelming to me. I don't know what this means. I don't know what that means. I don't know how to pick the right plan. So for me, all of our decisions, for me and my husband, not just for me, about our insurance was made strictly off of which one of these providers available to us accepts my daughter's insurance. I'm sorry. Which one of these will my daughter's doctors accept? There we go. For us, we have been in a long battle of providing her with the care she needs and providing it with, am I still in frame? Yes. With the team of doctors that we want surrounding her. Sure, you can absolutely go and find another doctor, but we're already on our third pediatrician, and I'd really prefer not to lose him. And to some people, that might not be a big deal, but when you have a child who has any kind of medical complexities, you want your point person to be your pediatrician. You want them to go and agree with you on if you want a referral, to not fight with you on it. If you want them to know what's going on with your child so that your child can have the best care that they can receive. So that's what's going on here in our world. And when I said earlier that I'm working on this canvas and kind of shifting it all over the place, I really should flip this canvas. If you don't know what I mean, like I literally mean just turn it upside down. I'm getting to the point where there's a lot hanging off the desk this way, but it's coming off the end of the desk here. So, it's not a huge deal. I'll keep working and then I'll figure out what I'm doing. But I'm just trying to, anyway, you guys, you probably don't even care about that. So yeah, that's what's going on in our world right now. It's a little bit of a crapshoot because we were hoping to get the process on medical assistance started before we picked our insurance plan, because we were given what sounds like misinformation that our insurance company is saying, well, if she gets medical assistance, you need to drop her from the insurance plan, which is my understanding that that's not correct. If anybody has proper information, feel free to drop it down below. But as it sounds like with her, the social worker we were speaking with today, it sounds like what we would be doing is applying for the medical assistance. And then if we get approved for that, anything the insurance doesn't cover will cover that. So for us, it may not be a lot of things like today that she needs appointments for. This could have been something that was very beneficial to us in the past. Obviously, we didn't know this was an option for us. And it's not an automatic qualifier from my understanding. It's just because when you have a child who has an IEP, they are listed as having some sort of disability. And that's what would make her qualify. Not her airway disorder, because we didn't require oxygen or anything like that, for example. And not her anxiety disorder, because I guess mental health in a 3-year-old is not something that is an automatic qualifier. Anyway, it's a lot. It's very confusing. I don't understand how this is working. And I just want my kid to be okay. If you guys watched Katie, her latest WIP Chat, she was talking about, it's not really recognized as much as how difficult this pandemic is for children of all ages. It's not just school age kids that are suffering. It's not the college kids who are missing out on their activities or the high school kids who aren't doing their sports. It's the little kids who are having different views of the way the world is. It's the toddlers who don't understand why they haven't been able to go and participate in sports or activities or, basically live a normal life, or being totally bombarded with adults wearing masks all the time. And again, when I bring this stuff up, it's not here for a debate. If you don't believe that this stuff is real, you can keep those thoughts to yourself. But for the safety of my child and her health issues, I do keep her home. And she has not been inside a store, a restaurant, a museum, anything like that since we've been home since February, her and I. So I do take her out for doctor's appointments, and we are always safe about that. But I don't know how this would affect a child with an airway disorder. And there's really no way to know because they don't have enough studies. Anyway, that's not the point. I'm going off on tangents left and right. But when Katie said that in her WIP Chat, it really struck a chord with me because, I talk to friends and family, and I feel like sometimes they go, oh, yeah, okay. And they don't realize, I can see how hard this is on my kid. And one of the things in the IU is we have social goals. And I said to them, how is she supposed to? They're required to obtain a certain percentage of the goals that were set forth for them. Wow, look at me taking up 5 spaces with 4 drills. Well, I'll tell you, man, these drills, though, they seem very tight in this kit. Very tight. And I know a couple people asked me for a post review on the old shoe house. I will try to get that up quickly. But if you guys would like, I don't tend to do post reviews on Diamond Art Club kits because they exist everywhere. I mean, there's not a whole lot of content that doesn't exist. That's unfortunately, if you come up with an idea, it's probably already been done. Whether it's done by, someone in your bubble or not, whether you were aware of it, things like that exist. So I just don't want to overload people with a ton of Diamond Art Club unboxings and post reviews if you guys can see it from 172 different people. But you let me know. I have been trying to offer a lot of different content and see what you guys like. People always tell me they want other things, and then when I put them up, the analytics show otherwise. So, for those who didn't like the first 2, a third KiwiCo unboxing is coming. And if you did like it, thanks. A third one's coming. Anyway, so I'm just, getting into winter. If you didn't pick up on it, we're getting a big snow today, and, it's different if you live in a warmer climate. I'm not saying you have to live somewhere that's hot, but if you live somewhere that's warm enough for you to comfortably and safely play outside every single day or go for walks every single day, that's great. I don't really have that opportunity here. Yes, I mean, I could technically take her out every single day, but I try not to bring her outside, especially for extended periods of time, if it's below freezing temperatures. So even when she was itty bitty, when she was like a couple months old, I would just strap her in the baby carrier and I'd put my jacket over her and we would go out for walks together when it was at least 32 degrees. So it's just really daunting because I know we're going to be in this for a while. I know, at least here in my state, they have shut down restaurant dining again, and things are only available for takeout and delivery services. And I know it's really it's hurting a lot of people, and it's hurting small businesses, and it's hurting restaurants, but we just got to get through this, because I cannot keep going the way I'm going. And the point I was trying to get to like 30,000 minutes ago, before I went off on yet another tangent, is my child is required to obtain social goals. Well, I said, well, how the hell is my kid supposed to obtain them when she can't be social? And they expressed if there is a need and there's another child in a similar boat, that they can bring the two of them into an office setting. This is obviously depending on what the state's mandates are at the time, because like right now, if I'm not mistaken, which I very well could be, all schooling in my area is virtual right now. I believe. I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me. Internet, please don't come after me. But if schooling is done virtually, like if they're not allowing any in person, then we can't even go into an office setting and do that. But I said, the problem is my kid was 2 years old last time she interacted with a peer. Like they'll ask me questions. Well, how do you think she'll do in a situation like this? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know if my kid understands the concept of sharing better now than she did a year ago, because she's older, because I have nothing to compare it to. She hasn't interacted with any other kids. So it's really hard. It's really tough. You always want to do the right thing for your child. You want to do right by your child, and you want to make sure that they have everything that they need. And one of the things they don't tell you when it comes to being a parent of whatever child is how much you will question yourself. You'll have those bad days and you will say, was it something I did? You'll have those moments where you're like, why won't she listen to me? Or why won't he do whatever it is I'm asking? And I always have to remind myself, even though she's 3 and I know she's not an itty bitty baby anymore, she's still learning how to express herself. She's still learning what emotions are, and she is very much underdeveloped in terms of emotional regulation. And that's okay. But what they don't tell you is, yeah, you should do gentle parenting. Great. But they don't tell you how freaking hard it is when all you want to do is just crawl into a corner and cry because your kid just doesn't listen to you or doesn't respond to you or is freaking out for the 100th time over something that seems completely minute. What they don't tell you is that no matter how good or bad of a parent you are, those thoughts will be in your head. I mean, maybe if you're a really bad parent, they won't be in your head, but usually the people who are questioning, am I doing this right? Am I doing enough? Those are usually the ones who are the good parents. And I'm not here to judge whether you are or aren't a good parent. It's not my place to judge that anyway. But man, I'll tell you, there are days where I'm just like, I just need a break. And every parent feels that way. Let me just preface that. If you don't have children and you're hearing me say that, I don't want you to think, oh my God, she must hate her kid. No, not at all. Every single parent who has custody of their child, I'll put it that way. Like if you have a child that you haven't seen in 14 years, you might not feel this way. But if you have a child that lives with you, every single one of you feels like you need a break at some point. And that's okay. Pre-pandemic, I could just go to Target and wander around the dollar spot. I could go and run errands by myself. I could go to Starbucks and sit there by myself and drink a coffee. Those things are not safe to be doing anymore. And it's one thing if you want to, go for a drive. But, I would love to interact with some of my friends in real life. And my husband and I, before it got cold, we did bonfires in our driveway and had a couple friends come over, sit in lawn chairs, stuff like that. But, we're going to be cooped inside for the next however many months because winter. And I have a kid who I worry about how socially adjusted she will be whenever this resolves. And so kudos to Katie for standing up and saying, every child is being affected by this. They're just being affected differently. It's really hard. And it's really hard when you have a child who doesn't understand the emotions that she's feeling, first of all, but can't express them. And I know no 3-year-old is going to truly be able to express how something makes them feel like this. But I'll tell you, it is hard, and we're getting to that point where you can just feel the tension. You can just feel those moments where, my husband and I are both just like, oh my God, I am on the verge. I just need to walk away. And it is because we've been home for so long, and I just want things to get better. I want my kid to get some sort of normalcy, and it kills me that I can't do that for her, that I can't offer her that. And it makes me question on a daily basis, am I doing the right thing for her? Am I doing everything that she deserves? And, excuse me, it's just hard. It's just really hard. And, we're going into the holiday season, or I guess we're in the holiday season. Like I said, I'm not sure when this is going up, but Hanukkah is almost over. Christmas is around the corner. New Year's is around the corner. I think that a lot of people's patience is wearing thinner than it normally would because of the current circumstances and situations that we're all in. But we just need to remember to express kindness to those around us. You don't know the journey that someone else is on. You don't know where they're at in their life and what they're dealing with. And it takes no money, time, or effort to express kindness. And I know I've said that like 17 times in this video already, but I truly believe that, yes, there are going to be people that annoy you, that all you want to do is give them a snide remark. There are going to be people who very clearly have differences in opinions and want to tell you that your opinion is wrong, and you just want to, say the rude remarks. But to that woman who packaged up your small shop business order, you might not know that she's doing that business because it helps pays for her kids' medical bills. Or that guy who you bought that product from off of Etsy is doing it to keep a roof over his family's head. And treating them like shit because USPS is taking forever, or because life is hard right now, is not the appropriate way to handle things. And just in case anyone tries to come back with well, then they should just overnight it. Overnighting right now, unless you're doing like the FedEx overnight that requires signature and like those kinds of overnighting, are still taking more than one day. They're not next day delivery right now. So it's just, for anyone out there who is struggling, I see you. For anyone who's questioning, am I doing the right thing? I see you. For anyone who wonders if anyone recognizes how hard they're working or how much they're putting into things, I see you. We need to cut our kids some slack, because if you're struggling to deal during the pandemic, how are you expecting a child to fully understand and react to the pandemic? I know how stressed out I am, and I try to remind myself of that when my kid has those moments that make me just like want to scream, that this is hard for me. I can only imagine how hard it is for her. That being said, I am not going to sit here and pretend like I don't lose my shit, or that I don't scream, or that I don't cry, or that I don't feel overwhelmed. And, one of Briar's therapists had said to me, overwhelmed children become overwhelmed adults. And then she just looked at me and she goes, I know you know how that feels. Actually, she said anxious children. Anxious, overwhelmed, same difference to me at this moment. I get very overwhelmed very quickly, and it's hard for me to understand what's coming and going when my body is just like, I can't comprehend this right now. I just, like, I need a minute. Just let me have those minutes. And it's hard. And, I know so many people on the internet try to make it seem like they have the perfect life and that everything is so easy and so beautiful and so this. And I just want you to know that's not the way it is. Are there some people out there who probably have those lives? Yeah, but they're probably not the ones you're looking at. So this is real life. This is raw, real, and unedited. This is what motherhood in a pandemic looks like. This is what dealing with mental health struggles during a pandemic looks like. This is what having a child who has medical complexities and differences looks like. This is what it looks like to lead a normal life in the middle of a pandemic. And if you are watching this in the future, I hope, excuse me, sorry, my nose is running out because I was crying. I hope that we've made it. Like, I really, really do. And on that note, I'm going to take a quick water break. And I'm sorry if you guys were coming in here hoping that this is going to be like a fun and bubbly WIP Chat. And you know what? This is real life. Sometimes things are good and moments are good and situations are good and days are good. Like, good days are the best. I know somebody's going like, of course they are. But when you have a good day and it's just surrounded by so many crappy days, like sometimes that good day gets lost in the wind, and other times that good day is the one thing you just hold on to because it was amazing. I want to duplicate it. So if anybody has any great indoor, not super messy activities that are appropriate for a toddler, I would absolutely love to hear them. I see people being like, oh my God, I did slime with my kid and I did this with my kid. And I'm like, I don't want to do an activity that's going to cause me to have to clean up for the next week. Even if it is fun, because kids are messy and toddlers are total a-holes. If you didn't know that, they all are. Every one of them are. Some more than others, but you know, it is what it is. And I'm just happy that I'm still surviving. You know, if you are one of those people that you compare your life to other people's, especially people you don't know, that's even more dangerous. And you see people accomplishing big things and you're wondering like, why am I here doing this, doing nothing special, or whatever it is that you have going on in that head of yours. If you're watching this in current time, just remember, be kind to yourself. You are slowly surviving a pandemic. You are surviving a worldwide global pandemic. You are surviving it. And that is something that should be celebrated, not swept under the rug. So, a few things that I've done to try to recenter, and by no means am I here being like, here's my advice, you follow it and your life will be 100 times better, because that's not what I'm saying. For me, I've added in a couple plants into our crafting space. I'm hoping that, I do feel like positive energy from doing that. And if that's not your thing, that's not your thing. That's totally cool. It's not really my thing because I have a black thumb, and one of my air babies looks like it may be on its way out. But we're not going to focus on that. We're going to just focus on the ones that are still kicking, and then if I have to replace one, I have to replace one. Or not, you know, there's no rules. I like to take time to fill out I use a gratitude journal. I actually have a video about that coming soon. So I hope you guys enjoy that. You can do whatever works for you. If you like to just regular journal, bullet journal, diary, whatever, but take those few moments every single day to reflect on the positives. Even if you've had the world's shittiest day, there's always something positive in it. Always. And it may not be a big, momentous occasion. It might just be a small glimmer of hope. Whatever it is, that's what you want to make note of. And then I started following on Instagram. There's lots of sites you can look online. You can go on Instagram. You can get them sent to your mailbox. You can get cards, but daily affirmations. And while that may seem so, oh, I could never benefit from something like that, or most of these things don't apply to me. Sometimes, you ever have that friend where you have a conversation with them and they say something and it's so basic, but you're like, man, that's really deep. That's what daily affirmations are. And we are all having a really hard year. And if you're one of those people that is just thriving in 2020, that's amazing. Just keep in mind there are a lot of people who aren't. So if you can't, and I'm not saying like dull your shine for someone else, but I'm saying just be mindful. You should always be mindful of the people you're surrounding yourself with. If certain things make certain people uncomfortable, why would you bring that up? You know, if somebody is telling you, I'm really struggling, and you turn around and you start boasting, well, that makes you sound like an a-hole. Okay? If you want your moment in the sun, that's fine. And your friend, I'm sure, will appreciate that moment. But the moment to say how great your life is and how great your things are is not when your friend or someone close to you is telling you how much they are struggling. With that being said, I want everybody to remember, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what walk of life you come from, it is always okay to not be okay. I've said this before and I will continue to say it again. There needs to be the stigma of mental health issues, whatever term you want to use, needs to be lifted, because so many people think that it shows weakness if you say, you know, I'm not okay. And that's not the truth. The truth is, it takes a strong person to stand up and say, you know what? I'm really struggling right now and I could really use some help. Or I'm really struggling and I'd like to talk to you. So if you are struggling and you feel like you don't have anyone that you can reach out to, you know, you can shoot me a DM. I'll chat with you. I'm not going to give you any kind of medical or mental health help, but there's always someone out there, and, you know, it's really hard. There's nothing that makes you feel more alone than like truly being isolated and then trying to fit into this role or position in this world that wasn't necessarily meant for you. And thank you for all of you for coming to my TED Talk. If you guys don't know what TED Talks are, you know what? You could probably look it up and have a better description than what I would try to say. But I just want you guys to know that I am, as usual, incredibly thankful for this community and the people in it, and those who have time after time expressed so much love and light and joy and have brought something to the table, to my life, to someone else's life. It really, really does, put a lot of things into perspective. And yes, there are always going to be those people that all they want to do is bring someone else down. If you have nothing nice to say, just don't say anything. You know, I just don't understand why we need to knock each other down. I don't know why we just need so much negativity. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my God, I'm a positive person. I can't believe that you would be so negative, because I literally just got done saying I'm sitting here being open about my struggles. And sometimes it's really hard to put on, you know, your positive pants for the day, or to just have those happy moments. But I'm not going to go out and be mean or rude or disrespectful to someone else because I feel like crap about myself. So, with that being said, please remember to always express kindness to those around you. You never know what somebody else is going through, and you never know who was meant to be put into your life until they're there. And I am so incredibly grateful for especially the handful of people who, you know, check in on me daily or just want to shoot the shit and have become closer to me than a lot of people I've known for many years in real life. And you can absolutely make lifelong connections with people that you've never met. And I hope that you guys have decided that I am somebody you want to keep in your life and that you want to keep coming around. So, with that being said, I'm going to end this one here tonight. Make sure you give this video 2 thumbs up while you are here. 1 real life, 1 virtual. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Come, join the Sparkle Squad. We want you here. Ah! I always do that. It never translates on film. So I'm just going to attempt to stop doing that. I'd love to say I'm really going to, but we all know I'm probably not. And make sure you hit that notification bell. I do not upload on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time. I film while she is sleeping or sleeping. I've been slacking immensely recently. I've had time where I knew I wasn't going to be able to sit and diamond paint. So I was like, I should film now, but I got to get in the motivation. And if you guys don't know, I have a video. If I remember, I'll link it in the eye, but I did a little desk tour. I have a very small desk that I work on, and if I'm working on something that I'm not filming, I have to either remove it from the desk, put something over it, or film at the table over there, which has terrible lighting. This whole room has terrible lighting. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. If you would like to leave a kind comment about someone in the comments down below, get a kindness train going. They don't have to subscribe to the channel. They don't even need to know I exist. But if you have something kind to say about somebody that is near and dear to you, friend, family, whoever, leave it down below. So, thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!